Hi, it's Mitz from My Life Mitz. Thank you so much for being here today. So this episode I will be catching up in my journal. This is the Hobonichi cousin, and I have a lot of doodles here and there that I have not yet finished. I used a Mitsubishi, I want to say Mitsubishi, let me grab it. It's the Unipin, and it's the waterproof and fade-proof pigment ink fine liner, and I've done the doodles in that, and then I don't know what it was, but for the month of July I didn't really feel like coloring them in. And here I'm just grabbing my snack for the evening. This is some, I think this is an apricot, I don't remember, but there's a huge box of, my husband bought this box of fruit covered, chocolate covered fruit, sorry, chocolate covered dry fruit, and they come packaged. Anyways, so that was my little snack while I was trying to catch up in my journal. And yeah, like some days I don't feel like doing the watercolor. I don't know, maybe it was in the month of July. I just didn't have the patience to wait for the paint to dry. I know some people have the heat gun, can use like a heat gun to speed up the drying process. I don't have one, and I usually just let it air dry. And for some reason in July I just did not feel like coloring in my doodles with watercolor. So here I'm just catching up, and in this video I will be flipping through the pages in my journal and catching up with the watercolor doodles. So in this doodle I drew a pizza, and the pizza is supposed to be, I think it's called chicken teriyaki maybe. I'm not 100% sure. I discussed it a bit in the flip through that's coming up soon. But my neighbor asked me if I wanted a free pizza, and apparently the place, I think it was Pizza Hut, they made a mistake with their order, and so they ended up sending another pizza, and so they said they couldn't eat it, and they asked us if we wanted it, and of course I said yes. This was the first time I had one of these like teriyaki type of pizzas. In Japan, the variation of pizza is very different. I know back home in North America you have your like meat lovers, or like a deluxe, or just a very simple cheese pizza, pepperoni slice. Like it's very like Hawaiian, like this very simple standard staple pizzas. But here they add these very interesting, so for example, there's this chicken teriyaki one, which I'm not, I don't really veer off. I just usually order the standard pizza flavors. So for me it was a first. I'm not like a sweet, I don't mind Hawaiian, but I don't really like sweet sauce on my savory foods. So for example, they have pizza with shrimp and mayonnaise, or they have garlic with, actually the garlic one is not too bad. They have garlics with garlic chunks with potato and ham, which is not bad. But they have just really interesting like Kalbi beef pizza, or like a lot of the times you can do like half-sies, so you could order one type of pizza on one side and then the other type of pizza on the other side. And there's also like you can even make it into quarters as well, so if you want 4 different flavors on one pizza, that's also doable. So, and I think I've shown an image several times already on Instagram, but the pizzas here in Japan are tiny. They're very, very, very small. It's still shocking. Whenever we order pizza, it's very tiny compared to back home. But anyways, so here I'm moving on to my next drawing, or my next doodle. I don't remember the actual color, like the green shade of these leaves or these plants. So in the month of July, the Hobonichi challenge was mainly around plants, and so I did a lot of like leaves and doodles of leaves and things, but I don't remember the colors of them. So I just kind of chose a random green and colored it in. I forgot to mention, I think for the most part this video is not sped up, so it's rather, well, I guess it's real-time journaling, and you can see how long I take with my coloring process. I'm sorry if it's painful, but I've also changed up the angle a little bit, or like my journaling space. I'm at the work desk, and it is in the evening, so I have this desk lamp, and then I'm shining it directly onto the notebook, and I think it's working out. Hopefully the shadows aren't too bad. But so yeah, this is a different type of shooting or filming style. I have the phone on a tripod behind me, and angling it that way, and I think it works out. I'm just adding some dimension with some simple pencil crayons. Just adding, I'm coloring in like the tripod stand with black, and just making it pop a little bit more. Okay, sorry about that. I got distracted. So anyways, yes, I am adding some color with some pencil crayon and trying my best to add some kind of dimension to the doodle. Here I grab black and add little parts where the crust is a little burnt, or I mean, it still looks like a big mush, but to me I feel like it adds a little something instead of just watercolor splotches here and there. But yeah, do you mix your media? Do you like to watercolor and then add pencil crayon after, or maybe I know a lot of people lately are into gouache as well. I haven't really Peppercorn Arts, Connie from Peppercorn Arts suggested that I purchase this gouache set, but I don't want to go into that yet. I don't think I am. I want to be comfortable, fully comfortable with watercolor first before jumping into gouache. But it's so pretty, like the artwork that's created with using gouache. So in the month of July, for some reason, I used to do this in the past too. I would outline my drawings or doodles with a separate color, and I really liked that look. So I continued it again with this with the leaves. Instead of watercolor, I ended up adding some light blue around the edges. I think I chose the pencil crayon because if I decided to go with watercolor to add the like the blue on the edge, I don't think it's dry yet. The watercolor on the leaves are probably not dry yet, and that's why I ended up going with the pencil crayon, and I think it turned out okay. I don't know if I'll be doing, I know for sure I'm already in like August, well into August. I think this is the second week of August, and I haven't really done much of the Hobonichi challenge. But whenever I doodle, I think I will continue to do that. I'll just add some color to the border as a border. And here I'm adding some green to the leaves, but like I said, the watercolor is still wet, so I don't think it was very effective at all. And yeah, so I'm going to continue with this. I will be coloring and doodling, and so not much of a journal process, but just kind of catching up in my journal. So here I am showing you the beautiful leather roll pen case that I purchased from Wanderlust by TSL. It is in this nice blush color, so I end up coloring that a little bit later on. I think I work on the little plant doodle on the side first. I don't really have like a light pink watercolor, so I end up using a pink that I have and just kind of watering it down. So I hope you can work with the watercolors that you have. I don't really have a black either, and I always just kind of mix and match, mix the colors that I have, so maybe blues and browns and greens, and I kind of make my own little washed out black. So yes, like I said, I'm working on coloring the plant first, and then a little bit later on I will color in the leather roll pen case. So I think I'm going to step away from describing what I'm doing on screen and discuss about somebody on Instagram asked about my journals, and I don't really remember exactly if I touched on that topic fully in my video. I did do a mid-year review. I filmed the mid-year review of my planners and journals that I'm currently using, but let's I guess get into it deeper here. Those videos, by the way, the mid-year review videos will probably be going up after this one, so stay tuned for that. So on a daily basis, I touch and work in a lot of different journals. I work in my 5-year journal, Hobonichi Techo. I also have, of course, my regular Hobonichi cousin, and sometimes I'll do junk journaling. Sometimes I will work in or write in my journal for my kids, and it really depends on the day. But I do at least touch one journal a day. Usually the 5-year is, I'm pretty consistent with the 5-year because I only have to write a small little paragraph. And then I will try my best to work at my cousin as well on a daily basis. It's not ideal, or it's not realistic, but I try my best to do something on a daily basis. Usually I'll work in the weekly section, writing a gratitude, something I'm very thankful for that day. And sometimes it's repetitive, and it's totally okay for me. I want to be ending the day on a good note, and I try my best to end on a positive note in the weekly section in my Hobonichi cousin. So it could be something like, I had a nice coffee today in the morning, or today the sun was out, or if it was raining, today the rain was, today I got wet, but it's just water, and it dries up, so it's okay. And I try my best to find the silver lining in things and end the day on a good note. So with the differences between my Hobonichi cousin and my junk journal, I think the question specifically was about junk journaling and using my different journals. My junk journal usually is more for like the creative side of me, like if I want to collage a little bit, or I don't do a lot of memory keeping in my junk journals except December daily. If you're not sure what December daily is, I've been keeping a junk journal every day for the month of December. Like I journal about my day in December in a junk journal, and I've been doing that for a couple of years now. If I remember to, I will leave a link down below to the playlist. But for December daily, I like the format of junk journaling very much. So that's where I do a lot of my memory keeping in my junk journal. But on a regular basis, my junk journal is usually more of a creative outlet. I don't do a lot of memory keeping in there. I write maybe quotes and things. I glue down a lot of, like I said, collaging, and it's more of a creative outlet for me, time for me to relax. And my Hobonichi cousin, and as well as my Hobonichi weeks, is where I do a lot of my memory keeping. I know you see my Hobonichi cousin more frequently, and there's not a lot of writing. I'm not a huge writer, but I do add some photos here and there. This is also my creative outlet as well. As you can see, I'm doodling or drawing these little Hobonichi challenges in my Hobonichi cousin as well. I also memory keep in my traveler's notebook. And I used to do a lot of travel journaling, or like documenting my travels in the traveler's notebook as well. But because of what's happening recently, unfortunately that hasn't been happening. However, whenever we go out for walks around the neighborhood, I try my best to take some photos, and so I've been documenting that in my traveler's notebook as well. And I know I've seen people also do journaling about places they want to go. So if people want to go to Tokyo, you can do a bit of researching, printing off some photos of Tokyo, places that you want to visit, and of course you can journal about that too. So just because you haven't been physically traveled or physically been to a location shouldn't, prohibit you from journaling. It's your journal, so you should be able to do whatever you want to write in your journals, right? So I've seen that idea float around on the internet as well, and I think that's a wonderful idea. I would love to research more a bit about. I really, really want to go to Europe. I don't know what country yet. I would love to go to the Netherlands, Italy, Norway, Finland, like Switzerland. There's so many places I would love to go. But yeah, maybe that's something in the future. If I remember to, I will do that in my traveler's notebook. So I hope that answers your question about using all these different journals. Please remember that these are your journals and there are no rules at all. If you want to use your junk journal to memory keep one day and then the next day you want to use it as a creative outlet, that's totally fine. And I think these journals should bring you joy and comfort. Maybe one day you don't feel like writing a lot. You just feel like sticking all your stickers on a blank page and that will make you happy, then go for it. There's no rules with journaling, and I hope people don't feel pressured. Like sometimes in the beginning, and sometimes I still feel this, to be honest, I feel like I don't have a style. I don't have a journal style. You'll see my videos on my YouTube channel. There's one week where I'm doing junk journaling, and then the next week I'm working in my hobonichi, and then one week I'm working in a traveler's notebook, or one week I'm just writing. Like it's I hope you don't feel like there's the pressure to find your style. There's no rules, like I said, and the only person that's making myself feel this pressure is myself. Nobody's telling me that I have to find my style. Nobody's saying that I need to have a style to be popular or whatever. Like it's just do what works for you and do what makes you happy. If one day I feel like adding a whole bunch of color in my journals, and then the next week I just want to mute things down and just add a whole bunch of vintage papers, that's up to me to decide. I know there's this pressure of being aesthetically pleasing, or you want to have the Instagram worthy post, and I've lately decided, or I've learned that it's okay, and I'm just going to do what works for me and what I have fun with at this current time. So maybe right now I'm into my Hobonichi cousin. Maybe next year I'll be in a totally different planner. Who knows, right? So I hope you don't feel the pressure to kind of feel in a certain style, or if your Instagram is full of just colorful things that you have to always do that. Just do what you want to do and what you have fun with and what brings you joy and what brings you fulfillment. I think that's what's most important, that the journals are for you and nobody else. So I think, I hope that touches on the subject of my different journals and things like that. If you have any questions, if you want me to further answer any questions, just let me know. I think I will go back into explaining what I'm doing here. I just used a friction highlighter. I really like these friction highlighters, not for highlighting, but for actually journaling, because the highlighter color isn't too neon, like it's not too bright. And if I make a mistake, I can erase it in my journal. So I just drew out some lines on the page and decided to use that for a journaling spot. So I really do like these friction highlighters. And then I added some lines with a fine liner underneath it, just to add a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I mean, right? Just so that I can journal on the actual lines. And then this is just a screenshot of the Tokyo Olympics. I think it was in an email or something, where the Tokyo Olympics there was like a TV schedule. And if you are new here, I'm actually located, I live in Tokyo, and I've been getting a lot of questions. I know the Olympics are now finished, but during the Olympics people would say, oh, how's Tokyo? Like, do you enjoy the Olympics there? And because of the lockdown, we haven't been out at all, and we've been respecting that and staying indoors. So it's upsetting in a way. Like my son was supposed to be able, like he received some kind of pass to be able to view, I think, some of the Tokyo Olympics festivities, like maybe some activities for kids or something, but of course that was canceled. So we've been enjoying the Olympics at home just like everybody else on the TV. I really wanted to visit Tokyo and maybe, check out the festivities, like I said, but because of the lockdown, we've been just at home and enjoying it from our TV at home. So there's nothing special about that. I'm sorry, I wish I had some like fun Olympic stories, or like, oh yeah, I got to see this athlete or I got to meet this athlete. But that was not the case. Yeah, maybe in the future things hopefully will get better, but yes. So now I'm just coloring in this. I think I mentioned this in my Hobonichi flip through video. I should have kept this doodle of this plant, the chain of hearts. I should have kept it just black and white. I kind of regret coloring it in watercolor. But anyways, here I am coloring it in. I did finish using up my glue sticks. You see on the left hand side there, and the collage element from Courtney Diaz, Little Raven Ink, on the bottom there with this cute little monster. I think I wrote a quote in there. Before I forget, the collage elements I use in my journals are mainly from Courtney Diaz, Little Raven Ink. The one that you see me holding it in my hand with the cute little raindrop in the yellow is from Erin Ware, and also James Burke as well. So I will leave everybody linked down below. Yeah, I'm just adding some watercolor to the page, and the Sakura printable there on the left side I think is also from Courtney. And I started to, you see, I don't know if you can see on the page, but I started to actually document the COVID numbers because they're increasing again in Tokyo, and that's what happens, and that's why we are in another lockdown until the end of August, but I think it will be increased or lengthened probably again. Here are some more doodles that I have not yet colored in. I mentioned this in my mid-year review planning and journals video. I ended up switching to a regular sized traveler's notebook, so I'm coloring that in as well. I received this beautiful Ace Hotel. This is my first ever Ace Hotel version. I received it as a gift from somebody that went to the Ace Hotel Kyoto, and it's a different type of, I feel like the camo from this collection, or maybe it's just the recent batches, but it's very more like a suede feel to it, and I find myself touching it often. And I started journaling in a Yamamoto Papers Robiki note, so it's kind of like a regular sized TN insert, but on the slimmer side, and the width of it is almost exactly the same as the width of a field notes, and it's just a tad bit longer, so it's not as intimidating. I think with the regular sized traveler's notebook, it's the size that was intimidating me. Jumping from a pocket-sized insert to a regular sized insert was quite intimidating. So here's these little charms that I have here. The brass charms I put on the front, and yeah, I'm curious to know, I know there's a lot of talk about planners for 2022 already. I know with the Hobonichi, what is it called, the preview, they're giving a little sneak peek here and there, and yeah, I'm curious to know if you're already thinking about next year. I want to say that I'm going to be using my cousin 100%. Well, I think I will be. I'm going to move forward with the decision of using my Hobonichi cousin the same way I'm doing it this year, with memory keeping and my gratitude and my health tracker all in one, and my Hobonichi cousin for next year. And of course I'm going to do the avec style because I end up doing a lot of tip-ins and things, so I will maintain that for next year. I was thinking about switching it up, but I think maybe next year is the last year with the Tomoe River paper. I'm sure they will find an alternative. I'm very confident that they will. But so for next year, for 2022, I think I will remain in the Hobonichi Cousin. So that's 100% sure. The other things are totally up in the air, so I don't know what I'm going to do yet for my social media planner, for my work planner, and my personal planner. I'm still really undecided. And as also with my kids' journaling as well, I'm currently using it in the Hobonichi weeks, and I don't mind it, but yes, it's just there's just so many wonderful planners out there. So I'm curious to know, have you thought about it? Have you thought about your planner system for 2022? I really like the Nolty as well, the efficiency one. Nolty efficiency, like the pocket-sized one. I am thinking about using that for my everyday carry because it's small enough, and I really like the Nolty paper. It's a cream paper, so maybe it may not be everybody's cup of tea, but also I really like the A6 Hobonichi A6 Stay Free as well. So I mean, it's still August and there's a whole several months still remaining, so I'm gonna wait before I make my decision. But those are just things that I'm thinking about. I know with the Hobonichi group on Facebook, there's all these sneak peeks, and it's difficult to make a decision now. Alright, so I can't believe I've been talking to you for like 30 minutes almost. But yeah, leave me a comment down below if you've already decided on what you are going to use for next year. I also want to try out, I was watching Rowena from Sojourner. She was showing her Jibun Techo. I think she was using the Jibun Days, it's called. And she was showing her A5 slim size compared to the B6 slim. And it's so hard to choose. Right now my work planner is in a B6 size. And so I must have a month on 2-page spread as well as a horizontal weekly section. So I know that option is available in a lot of planners. So I think I might consider the B6 slim size and kind of scale down a bit, because I'm flipping through my B6 planner right now, and I may be able to go into a B6 slim size. I'm not sure. Actually, maybe not. There's a lot of notes here that might be kind of a tight squeeze for a B6 slim. Anyways, I'm just coloring in. So I guess this was a 4-day weekend. The national holidays were kind of jumbled up this year because of the Olympics, and they kind of rearranged the holidays to kind of match with the Olympics as well. They increased the tolls here. If you are not aware, if you go on the highway, or I guess you would say freeway, you have to pay money, and it's for all of them. I know back home there's like the 407 where you pay your tolls, and then you have your 400s, like your 401 and your 403, 410 highways. Sorry, I'm referring to the Toronto area, but there's highways that you can use for free, and then there's highways that you can use if you want to pay extra money. But here, all the highways are, you have to pay money. And so they increased the tolls on the highways in hopes that people will not travel around during the Olympics, and that definitely we did not use the highway at all because it was just way too expensive. Like, we needed to go to do a Costco run, but it would cost us like $50 just for the tolls. And so we were like, no, let's just try our best to hold out and just wait until later. And we still haven't gone yet. But yes, so that's I guess like a tidbit for you. The tolls here are all, I mean, the highways and the freeways here, you all have to pay money to use. And I think it all depends on the of course, like the size of the vehicle as well as the length that you're on it. And then I think there's some certain discounts if you use the tolls like in the middle of the night, or I think sometimes in the past, like if we were traveling to go camping or something, we would leave in different times during the day so that we wouldn't have to pay such high fees for the highway. So yes, I don't know how I got onto that tangent, but oh yeah, I think I was talking about the holidays and things. So I think that's about it. I have just a couple minutes left here in the video. I like to swatch out the remaining paint on the brush on separate pages, like on papers or separate pages that are blank. Hopefully the coloring is okay. Let me know down below if this is okay with you and if this angle is okay. I know I like switch around. Sometimes I'm on the dining table watching TV, or sometimes this is the first time on this kind of format, but I'm on my work table just watching a video while I catch up with my watercoloring. So here I'm going to end off the video with outlining the watercolor doodle. This page is dry now, and so that's why I kind of went back in with the watercolor outline, and I really like, and I will most likely continue this with my doodles. And like I said, I haven't really doodled much in August. I really want to get back into it. Maybe it's because I went all gung-ho in July with the doodles that August I haven't really been into it. Maybe I'll go back into it in September and do it kind of like that. But please don't force yourself to do anything that you're not having fun with. So for myself, I'm not going to force myself to doodle if that's not what I feel like doing. I'll go back into it whenever my heart desires, I guess. Okay, so I think I will leave it here. Maybe I will finish it off with some background music for the last couple minutes. I hope you enjoyed this more of like a real-time watercoloring session. Hopefully these watercoloring sessions weren't too boring and my chatting wasn't too boring. I like the longer videos. I like to watch the longer videos of other people. I like to have them on the background and journal at the same time. So it's just the editing takes a little bit longer, of course, because the video is longer. Okay, I will leave it at that for now. I hope you are doing well and you're enjoying the last bits of summer if you are on summer. I really appreciate you for being here, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.